There are moments in life when a person does not need another political argument, another accusation, or another voice telling him whom to fear. He simply needs somewhere safe to ask a question troubling his heart. Many Ambazonians carry private struggles that rarely appear in public discussions about our people. There are marriages under strain, parents worried about their children, young people uncertain about relationships and identity, widows and widowers facing loneliness, families divided by migration, communities wrestling with cultural expectations, and men and women trying to reconcile faith, education, work, tradition, and the realities of modern life. Welcome, everyone. My name is Judith, and thank you for having me as your spiritual leader. So, today's topic is titled Restoring Dignity, Accountability, and Creativity in Ambazonia. And what I am about to say here is to introduce to us a new um, column or uh, um, title of what we'll be doing. And the Independentist newspaper has provided us a space or column where we'll be taking questions from Ambazonians. And the title is Dear Spiritual Leader. Dear Spiritual Leader. So, in this presentation, I'm going to talk to you about this new initiative, Dear Spiritual Leader. We are a team of Ambazonians in the revolution who are trying to address the problems of our people. So that way we are ready to govern ourselves when we go back to Ambazonia. It will not be a people who are confused. It will not be a people who are still trapped in conflict of mind and interest, but a people who have become, who have been nurtured, molded during the revolution to end up, having this dignity, being responsible and accountable and ready to create. Because that is what we are fighting in this revolution, to be a responsible, dignified, and creative individuals. Because if we don't have these qualities in us, then we're going to go back to the same old system that we are fighting for to get out. So, dear spiritual leader, it was on the Independent newspaper. If you go there, you will read more about this new initiative. Dear spiritual leader, your question may help you understand your own journey. Before I go there, it says, Dear spiritual leader, a new spiritual, personal, and family guidance column for our readers. Huh? Go to the Independentist newspaper. You can find it there. Let me show you. Yeah. It says, write to dear spiritual leader. Your question may help you understand your own journey. It may help you, it may help another family avoid unnecessary pain. It may help our community rediscover the difference between spirituality and fear. In my book, Connect with God right here. It's available on Amazon. It's also available at the home front in Kumba. You can contact Brother Takang Aya Ayok. Is the persons with disability in Kumba. You find it. It has the English and the French to help our people, Ambazonians, our neighbors in La République, Africa, English and French speaking, and the world at large. So we can transform inward, because a lot of things that are happening today is as a result of the fragmentation that is going on within the individual. If we can align within, integrate our fragments of or those shadow self entities that are causing us to pick up these different identities, if we can just be honest with ourselves and go back and align, and then we can also transform our societies. Africa is, is made up of intelligent people, but the issue is that individualism or individualistic mindset where people want to do things for themselves without putting the rest of the population at heart. And so our societies are not developing. So this column, dear spiritual leader, will help us to express our feelings, our emotions, the questions that you have. We are a team of Ambazonians who are ready to help our people to restore dignity, to restore accountability, to restore creativity. So when we go to Ambazonia, we will create a beautiful nation that will be the envy of the world. That is our purpose here. Okay? Um, it says there are also deeper spiritual questions. Why does fear sometimes occupy more space in our lives than faith? Why have some families become divided by accusations of witchcraft, curses, prophecy, jealousy, or hidden enemies? Why do some people become so dependent upon religious personalities that they lose confidence in their own relationship with God? How do we preserve what is valuable in our African spiritual and cultural inheritance without becoming prisoners of superstition, manipulation, or fear? These are difficult questions, but they should not be forbidden questions. We see today the colonizers, whether it be the Arabs or the West, now they are using religion to cause division in Africa. Just a week or two ago in the Sahel, Burkina Faso, you can go Google it up, where the president was addressing the issue of um, radical Islam. So we see this from time and time and time and again. It's just a repeated strategy that they are recycling. And we Africans, we need to be very smart to understand these strategies that they keep using in every generation to destabilize our people. Whether you are a Christian, a Muslim, or whatever faith or religion that you belong to, this should not be something that will come to divide your people, that will cause discrimination, that will cause all sort of evil in our society. We are old enough on this earth to see, and especially in this century where AI and social media is available, giving us all sort of information, you have the ability to decipher those information, the ones that are good, the ones that are bad. You have the ability to do that. So we cannot let them use the same strategy to continue to divide us, to continue to separate us, to continue to cause, destabilization in our countries and continent. We are educated enough. We have been in religion for a long time that we need to understand the strategy of the colonizer. So when we come here and we are looking for different ways on how we can get our people out of this mindset, that they can start focusing in themselves, go within and connect with that God. You can communicate with it. It is not just for a particular individual that has that autonomy, nor a particular country that has the autonomy. If you read your Bible, it says God created us in his image. So we should be very vigilant in this generation because they are recycling the same strategies. And that should not be any African country that will allow them to bring that divide. Then you are not serious. You are not serious because a lot of information is out there that can help us to prepare ourselves as a defense against these foreign invaders and their foreign intelligence. So, this independent news is therefore introducing what? Their spiritual leader. As you can see, my email is there on the screen. You can use my email to contact me or go through the independentist and we will look into your problem. Tell us how you want us to address you, whether by your full names or your first name or a pseudonym. We are ready to do that because healing starts from within. When it concerns spiritual matters, healing starts from within. It is not the laying of hands. It is not the casting or binding of demons or all of that. Healing starts from within, and it is an individual thing on a personal level that you're supposed to heal yourself. And how can you heal yourself when you have the right information? You have the right information, right knowledge. They say knowledge is power, not the power to go destroy other human beings, to go destabilize other countries. Power to rise, power to be as a, when they talk of a spiritual being, as a God. When I use God here in most of my teaching, is because of higher intelligence, that you are able to solve problems. That is what God is all about. The divine nature is that nature where you enter into to solve your problems, to provide for the needs of your citizens, the well-being, that you're taking care of your citizens. That is the divine nature we are talking about. I know some people have it, they find it difficult when I say we are gods, and they say, oh no, you cannot be God. So where is the God? Why is he not coming to solve your problems? Huh? Because you are the one, your higher self, that higher intelligence, that knowledge that you use to solve problems, to provide for the needs of others, not just your own need, but for everyone. That is the divine nature of God. The human nature is always selfish, looking just for yourself and your immediate family or friends. That is the human nature. But the divine nature is more broader, is for the masses, that people have their own fair share, equal opportunities. That is what being a God is all about. It's not for you. When people hear me say, oh, how can you be God? Oh, God, can you create anything? If we're not creating, the world will not exist. Let us know this. If humans were not creating, the world will not exist. Everything will just crumble and, disappear. Hmm? So let us help each other grow so we can live in harmony with one another, share information. If you have this information, whether it's technology and the other person has agriculture and he needs, and you can share, you can exchange, you can negotiate. It's not about always trying to control other humans. Huh? So, a personal, family, and spiritual guidance forum for Ambazonians at home and throughout the diaspora. The purpose is simple: to create a humane place rather, where people can ask difficult questions without ridicule, intimidation, tribal prejudice, spiritual condemnation, or fear. Reconnecting human being with God. That's the other purpose for this column. For generations, African societies have experienced enormous religious, political, economic, and cultural disruption. Colonialism did not extract only land, labor, minerals, crops, and wealth. It also changed the way many Africans were taught to think about themselves, their ancestors, their languages, their institutions, and even their relationship with God. That's why Connect with God is here. Hmm? Go order your copy on Amazon. Connect with God, Awakening the Divine Consciousness Within by Judith Elondo. Huh? By Judith Elondo. You can see there. so our people can go back, because that was how our ancestors were. Huh? Hundreds of years or thousands of years ago, the Africans knew spirituality. They knew that God was in them, not outside, not in the sky. That everything we see out here in nature, we are connected with nature. We are one with nature. And even the breathing already shows us that we are one with nature. You cannot exist without breathing oxygen from the universe or atmosphere, and the universe cannot exist without inhaling our carbon dioxide. So right there, it should show you the interconnectedness of the human and nature. So we need to be that custodian of one another and nature itself. Hmm? We see how the weather is here in the US. Huh? This was supposed to be summer, where it was during summer the temperatures are really high. It's very hot. But this summer 2026 has been more of rain. It's been more of like a spring, like spring season instead of summer. So nature speaks to us, and we are here to connect, understand nature. If you understand nature, then you will not have problem with human beings. You will not have problems with human beings. I'm telling you, we don't understand nature. So how do we understand ourselves? How do we understand others? So we keep fighting. We keep causing instabilities, distractions, propaganda, all of that. So Ambazonia, we are bigger than that. The revolution has really shaped us. A lot of us have been transformed during these 10 years. And if you have not been transformed, those who don't want the transformation, they drop out, because it is shaping us, it's molding us for what? To go to Ambazonia, for execution, for leadership, and everything, that we're going to take care of our own country. So don't give up, no matter what you're going through. Many Ambazonians are going through a lot, even those of us in the diaspora. Do not quit. Don't give up on yourself. You are a testimony that the world is waiting for. So hang in there. Tomorrow it's Dongamanton County draft. Go and draft your county, draft the government, the federal government. This is a humanitarian draft, so we can support our farmers, support our people, our refugees. That's what we are doing until the international community will come and cause La Republic to sit on the table, so we can finally get out of this mess. Okay? So their spiritual leader takes a different path. The purpose is not to replace God with another human authority. The purpose is to help people reconnect with God without fear. A spiritual leader should not stand between a human being and God, as though God can be reached only through that leader. We see that today in Ambazonia, in Africa, in many parts of the world, where spiritual leaders or religious leaders, they have become now the, the gatekeepers. Huh? They have become the gatekeepers, and at the same time, they are the choke point. Hmm? Where people cannot have direct access to God. And my book is to give you that access. The framework is here, the blueprint is here, that you can have access to that God within. God does not live outside you, God lives within your human consciousness. And you can connect with it by aligning with it. And there is a breathing exercise that you can instantly connect there. There are breathing exercises in other places, and people have written books about that. And even in the nursing or medical science, we see that they use breathing to go deeper, to get sounds and other things, how your inner system works. So it is nothing new. There is just that we didn't know how to use it to connect and align with this God within. So go order your copy and free yourself from this religious slavery or mental slavery. Okay? A spiritual leader should help a person develop wisdom, conscience, discernment, responsibility, compassion, courage, and a deeper understanding of the divine presence within everyday life. Huh? That is you restoring that dignity to that person. The person will become a responsible person. If you, a spiritual leader, does all of this, they'll become responsible, they'll become accountable, they'll become creative. That's what we want our people to become, not dependent on spiritual leaders or religious leaders, not dependent on politicians or traditional rulers. We want a society where people are independent, where they can lead in any capacity, and they are responsible, because if you are not responsible and an accountable person, you cannot become a leader. Why leadership fails in Africa is because they lack that accountability and responsibility. A leader will ask the citizens to go and pray, go fast. Huh? In Africa, for how many years you have been in religion and doing all of those rituals, has your country changed? So is it not time for us to start go back to that your religious books, look at those scriptures, read them, get an understanding, and know that certain things were they needed scientific knowledge, others needed engineering knowledge, others they needed economic knowledge, entrepreneurship, and all of that. That your Bible or your Quran was showing you. But all you have been doing is to just give a blind side on the esoteric or deeper meaning of those scriptures. And so our people are where they are today because they trusted the spiritual leader, they trusted the politicians, they trusted the traditional leader. And where are we today? A generation took their whole mind and just handed it to their leaders. And now, what did the leaders do with it, with those minds? They just trample on them, fighting for their own selfish interests and ignoring everybody else. That they will go on for days and weeks. We see our people at the home front protesting for lack of electricity, lack of energy, lack of everything. And you say they should pray, and then when they die, they go to heaven. Which heaven? Which heaven? True spiritual growth should make a person stronger in love, clearer in judgment, more responsible towards family, more compassionate towards others, and less controlled by fear. It should not make a person terrified of neighbors, suspicious of relatives, dependent upon endless prophecy, or convinced that every setback must have been caused by an invisible enemy. That's what has caused our people. There's no trust. People are living in fear. People can easily be bored and then go harm their neighbors, go harm their brothers, go harm their parents because of a doctrine of fear that has been imposed on them. So we are trying to correct, to restore, to rebuild those broken pieces, to bring us to that place of wholeness, because we need to get to Ambazonia in one piece, not pieces. No fragmentation. We need to get to Ambazonia in one piece. That's why we're coming up with these different initiatives. There, people are writing books. Go, Dr. Mongo has written a book that the president has written books. Go order them. That's what other communities do. They encourage one another. They read their own materials, huh? Read their articles of their own, and they continue to grow. The Africa, we always like imported stuff. So I'm calling on you guys. Go order my book, and learn something there. Dr. Mongo has written books. The president has written books. Go order them. Hmm? Go order them. I have books here that I ordered written by the president. Yeah, these are my books. These are written by the president. I have those from Dr. Mongwa. Where did I put it? They're there. We should be in the habit of encouraging our own by giving them the right knowledge. It says, when spirituality divides the family, one of the most painful realities in many African families occurs when spiritual claims begin destroying human relationships. A mother is called a witch, a father is accused of blocking a child's destiny, a sister is blamed for another sister's unsuccessful marriage, an uncle becomes the alleged cause of unemployment, a grandmother is feared because someone claims she possesses hidden spiritual powers, a marriage collapses because a religious personality declares that one spouse is spiritually dangerous. Families that once ate from the same table stop speaking. Sometimes enormous decisions are made because somebody said, God told me. You see, Our society is so fragmented, and if we cannot identify those causes, we cannot find healing. A society can heal when they identify the cause, the root cause. So when you see people, even in international organizations, that they are claiming that um, they are acting as the human mediators or solving a solution finders, and yet they don't find any solution, and we see endless wars and conflicts all over the world because they don't want to address the root cause. They don't want to address the root cause. So when you take that concept, you apply it, you see that it is also in our society, in religion, whether in a tribal circle, whether in the politics, people are so divided. But we have the ability to identify those fragments. They call them the shadow self within you and outside, in your communities, in your government, in your countries. Identify those fragments that continue to push your people further away from unity, from harmony, from peace and all justice and everything. Continue to identify them. That's how healing can come to a people. That's how harmony can come. People can live in harmony. That's how peace can reign in a community, in a country, when they identify the root cause of their problems. And with all honesty, they are ready to solve it. This one is saying in religion, oh, God told me this, I prophesied this, I saw this one, I did this one, I did that. Now we don't even spend time anymore in science, engineering, and all the other things huh, that are supposed to govern us. I've also written another book titled Steamer's Education. It will be out soon. Steamers, a framework for Ambazonia and the people of the world. That's a holistic framework where in the United States they had the STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. And then they later added art. It became STEAM. So while I was writing my book and looking at the mental capacities, because STEM is all a mental capacity, the way we think, the different dimension of thinking. But it was not complete. And when they added art, it became STEM. It still was not complete. The human being thinks in seven um, different ways or direction or dimension. And so those seven dimensions, they are supposed to be implemented in our lived experience. They're supposed to have infrastructures that those abilities have created. So, STEAMers is a complete and holistic framework where The S stands for science, the T stands for technology, the E stands for engineering, A stands for arts, M stands for mathematics, E stands for economics. Economics, very important. We see the rise of entrepreneurship, financial literacy. Yeah. So that was left out in their own STEAM or STEM. And then religion. The human society is shaped by religion, religious belief. Every human being on the face of the earth belongs to one or two religion, one religion or the other, except those who have finally, you know, um, liberated themselves, like myself and many others around the world. So religion is there, and it can never be ignored because the beliefs, the teachings, everything, it structures the mind. Your beliefs, they turn now to shape your identity. So we cannot ignore that. And the last S there, steamers, S is spirituality. So I had to incorporate spirituality, which I am talking in my book, Connect with God, Awakening the Divine Consciousness Within. Um, that everything that we are doing, we are thinking, it need to align with those divine principles of truth, conscience, righteousness, and justice. So that way, when we are in any um, walk of life, that ethics should be the paramount um, thing in our life. Ethics. That your spirituality is expressed in your lived experience. So whether you are a leader, a president, a teacher, an engineer, a doctor, or whoever, you're a pastor, a priest, a prophet, an imam, you need to show us by your actions and behavior that you are a spiritual being. You are guided by these principles, not just going to school and acquire the education and then you go there, your aim is to get a job, and then you want to make money and acquire all of these academic accolades and all. We don't see any morality in people. So we have to go back to the root. Our educational system, our jobs, everything need to go back to align in those moral or spiritual principles. Okay? So, the questions people are afraid to ask. Readers may write about marriage, courtship, parenting, divorce, widowhood, friendship, loneliness, migration, cultural conflict, financial pressure, faith, spirituality, relationship across tribes and races, generational differences, or personal decisions that are difficult to discuss elsewhere. So, in this, dear spiritual leader, colon, you are free to ask your question, share your experience in all of that to help you and others that will be sharing these articles on the Independent is newspaper, so people can read your name. You know, we will not publish your name. Just give us the information. We also have a team and people they can walk you through what to do. Okay, and what we are not doing Okay. Another thing is spiritual authority should never become a business model built upon fear. People should be encouraged to pray. For those of you who believe in prayers, I don't believe in prayer anymore since I am awakened. So, those of you who believe in prayer, you are encouraged to pray, reflect, seek wisdom, examine evidence, listen to conscience, learn from scripture and tradition, consult trustworthy people, and take responsibility for their decisions. You see, when we are talking about restoring dignity, accountability, and creativity, when people start being responsible. Hmm? A mature person can listen to advice without surrendering judgment. A mature person can respect tradition without becoming imprisoned by it. A mature person can have faith without abandoning reason. A mature person can disagree without hatred. Most importantly, a mature spiritual life should produce love rather than fear. Restoring what extraction has weakened. Ambazonia cannot rebuild only roads, schools, institutions, businesses, and political structures. A people must also rebuild confidence in themselves. For centuries, different extractive systems have taught Africans what they supposedly lacked while taking enormous value from what Africans possess. We all know that, right? And that's why we got ourselves here today. Land was valuable, minerals were valuable, labor was valuable, agricultural resources were valuable, strategic territory was valuable, yet the people themselves were repeatedly told that their culture, institutions, knowledge, and spiritual understanding were inferior. That contradiction deserves examination. Are we an inferior people? No. With all the knowledge, information available today, do we still want to stay in that place where others look at us as inferior people? Certainly not. Ambazonia, what we are doing, we are showing them that we are not inferior people. We are educated people, intelligent people, smart people who know what they want and who they are. Be proud of who we are. So I am proud of who I am, an Ambazonian, right? Restoring African dignity does not mean pretending that every traditional practice was wise. Every culture contains wisdom and error. Every religious institution can serve or exploit. Every generation must examine what it inherited. Hmm? The responsibility is to preserve what strengthens human dignity, family, community, responsibility, creativity, stewardship, and our relationship with God while having the courage to reject whatever promotes fear, exploitation, abuse, exclusion, or ignorance. African heritage should give our children roots, it should not give them chains. And that's why we are fighting. That we don't want to pass on these chains, this mental slavery, colonizers, and their colonial slavery, La Republique assimilation. We don't want to pass all of those chains to our next generation. So we must do everything in this generation to free Ambazonia, free ourselves and the generation yet unborn. Huh? We must do that. Ambazonians, tomorrow is Dongamanto County draft. Go and draft. This humanitarian draft is all targeted for our people, help our people in need, our farmers in need, and all diplomacy, everything. So we can have a place called home. Okay? Their spiritual leader will also address the changing reality of Ambazonian families. Migration has transformed households. Women increasingly possess professional and financial independence. Men may experience pressures very different from those faced by their fathers. Children raised abroad may understand culture differently from their parents. Interracial and intertribal relationships are increasingly common. Technology has changed courtship. Long distance marriages create new pressures. Economic insecurity affects intimacy and family stability. We cannot solve 21st century family problems simply by repeating every rule from the past. Huh? Neither should we assume that everything modern is automatically better. Wisdom requires discernment. Yes, and we have the wisdom. We have the mind to think outside the box, right? A safe place to ask. Readers are invited to write honestly. So, this is your part as a reader. You are invited to write honestly about marriage, family, relationship, spiritual questions, cultural adjustment, and personal choices and situations they may feel unable to discuss elsewhere. You may use your real name, initials, or pseudonym, identifying details or pseudonym. Identifying details may be changed or withheld to protect privacy. So do not be afraid that, they will reveal my name there. You're going to indicate how you want us to address you. When writing, explain the situation as clearly as possible. What happened? Who is involved? What you have already tried and what guidance you are seeking. Submissions may be edited for clarity and length before publication, but their essential meaning will be preserved. Their spiritual leader will respond without ridicule, racial judgment, tribal prejudice, or automatic spiritual condemnation. The purpose is not to dictate how people must live, it is to help readers think, to help them distinguish fear from faith, to help them understand consequences, to help them protect dignity, to help families communicate, and whenever possible, to help people find their way back to God without surrendering their mind to another human being. When professional help is necessary, listen carefully. Spiritual guidance has limits. Advice provided through their spiritual leader is general, educational, and spiritual in nature. It is not a substitute for professional, medical, psychological, psychiatric, legal, immigration, financial, or emergency assistance. I'll read that again. Spiritual guidance has limits. Advice provided through their spiritual leader is general, educational, and spiritual in nature. It is not a substitute for professional medical, psychological, psychiatric, legal, immigration, financial, or emergency assistance. Where a situation involves domestic violence, threats, child abuse, serious mental or physical illness, suicide risk, criminal activity, or immediate danger, leaders should seek appropriate qualified assistance in their locality. Hmm? Prayer and professional help are not enemies. A person can pray and see a doctor. A couple can have faith and seek counseling. A family can believe in God and consult a lawyer. Hmm? Seeking competent help does not demonstrate weak faith. Sometimes wisdom consists precisely in recognizing when another kind of knowledge is needed. Write to the spiritual leader. All correspondence should be sent to Dear Spiritual Leader, The Independent is News, email The Independent is News at gmail.com. Um, and also my email is there, JYOLE 04 at yahoo.com. It's on the screen, or the Gmail. So you can use the Independentist email when you are on the Independentist news. And those are the home front that I want to, because people always call me, communicate with me. You want to use my email, you can use my email, or go by the Independentist email. Okay, so please indicate whether you would like your name published, replaced with initials, replaced with a pseudonym, or withheld completely. Readers may also follow the Independentist news on Facebook. So, um, your question may help you understand your own journey. It may help another family avoid unnecessary pain. It may help our community rediscover the difference between spirituality and fear. And perhaps one question at a time, it can help restore something that centuries of extraction, displacement, doubt, and spiritual confusion have weakened the confidence of a people to approach God with faith, reason, dignity, and without fear. So, we have heard, go to the Independentist news um, paper. They are on Facebook. You can go online and submit your question, your concern, and we will help you in our own um, spiritual way. We are not going to stand as a mediator between you and God. God is in every human being. Okay? So let me know what you think in the comment, and thank you for watching. It's been a beautiful day. See you tomorrow at the draft. Bye for now.